What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Quick video today. It's time for an oil change on the Himalayan. I actually only have about 2,600 miles on it, but I changed it at 300 and again at 600, and I just want to keep everything really clean and good in there since it's air cooled and the oil gets pretty hot here in South Carolina. So without a whole bunch of talking about it, let's get it done. I'm using Bel-Ray Thumper oil. It's just what they had. I wanted to get Motul, but they didn't have it in stock, so this is what I'm gonna try to always run. It's 1550. I'll try to drop a link below if I can find some. And then I have a Royal Enfield OE filter. And what we're gonna need today is a drain pan, of course, an 8mm socket, and a 21mm socket. First thing we're gonna do here is take this drain plug, 21mm drain plug out here, and then we'll take these two 8s out, if you can see them there, and pull that out. There's a screen in there, and then we'll go around on the other side and do the filter for you guys. So let's get let's see what kind of shape this oil's in. It's actually stayed fairly full throughout the period of changing it. Haven't really had to worry about it using too much oil, which is a good thing. But let's drain it out here and see what we got. Just wanted to I like to document this for warranty and for you guys as well, so good little quick video today on how to do this. So let's just take this plug out. There's a copper washer behind it. You probably should replace it, but I usually leave it on there for a couple oil changes and just don't over tighten it, and it won't squeeze it out too bad. Oh yeah, that oil's still in pretty good shape. There's that little copper washer there. And I believe in this pack right here is, yeah, it has a little crush washer in there. So drain plug washer kit, so I guess there's some more in there too as well. I'll drop a link for that too. But let's let that drain out, and when that gets done, we'll take that little cover off there and see how that screen's looking back there. Alright, one other thing I didn't mention, to get a little bit better job and actually to speed up the process a little, it's great to get the engine warmed up. So maybe take your bike around the block or let it idle for a couple minutes. Just get the oil temperature up enough, and it'll actually thin it out enough to let it drain out a little faster and better. Alright, so we got that backed on there. That's a calibrated elbow torque. If you want to torque it, that's fine, but I've been doing it too long and gotten slack. Alright, so let's get these little 8s out here and see what we got. You definitely don't want to really over tighten these. They're pretty much just 6mm bolts, so okay. So there's an O-ring around there that should be okay to reuse. No big deal with that. And let's just lay this to the side for now. And there's going to be a screen in here, and I believe you can pull it out by hand, but you might need some needle nose if it's stuck. But let's take a look here. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. I think we'll just leave that alone. I don't even, well, I guess we could wipe it off. If there's debris on that, it might be a good idea to blow that out with a little bit of brake cleaner or something. But just take note of the taper. It's very subtle, but the taper goes in, so it kind of is shaped like this if you look at it. And just want a little bit of oil around the edges. And there's just that little groove that it fits up in. Let's see if I can show you guys here. Yeah, see that little slot that it fits up in right there? And it's pretty clean in there. I'm pretty happy with that. We'll wipe this other piece off and put it back, and then we can go around and take the filter out. Nice lint-free shop rags are really handy too. And you want some oil left on this O-ring here, so if you blow this off with a brake cleaner or something, make sure you take you a little bit of oil and put back on that. I think that's drained out pretty good there. And this bike just holds just under 2 quarts, I believe. And there's a little bit of procedure to checking it to fill it up. A lot of people get it a little bit wrong, but we'll do it here when we get through. And I'll give you guys an idea of how you do it. All right, so like I said, let's just snug these up, not get too crazy with them. Like to start everything by hand. And then, of course, when you start it back up, we'll just look it over really good and make sure we don't have any leaks anywhere. Tighten these up evenly. Alright. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, let's go around and do the filter. Alright guys, so slid the oil pan, drain pan under here, in just in case we lose any here. Let's take these 3 out. Now there's going to be a spring back behind here, so loosen these evenly if you can. You're going to get a little oil on your exhaust. Don't worry about that too much. Alright. You can kind of support this by hand as you pull these screws out to keep that from flying apart, losing your screws. There's a pretty good little stout spring back behind that. Okay, now there's the old gasket. We'll just discard that. Now pay close attention that this long bolt goes down here at the 5 o'clock position at the bottom. And you can notice if you drop these out, you'll notice because you got threads at the very edge of these at the top and none down here at the bottom. So always make sure that'll orient this correctly. Now I don't really necessarily think it really matters about which way you turn this. And I know this doesn't have anything to do with the video, and maybe if you guys are Royal Enfield technicians, you could tell me this. Wonder why this is grooved out for an O-ring, but yet they use a gasket on it. I wonder if the O-ring was too close to this edge when they machined it or something and it leaks. I'd really love to have that O-ring in there and see if it wouldn't leak. And if it didn't, you could reuse it a lot and not have to buy a new gasket every time. Alright, let's lay this to the side and get this filter out of here. Now you may have to take a little screwdriver or something, but usually this will come right out by hand. And also, it looks pretty clean. Note that this hole portion with the rubber grommet goes in. There's a little recessed area that it goes in there, and you'll want to make sure you get that oriented correctly or you could have some engine damage. So put the hollow part in with the rubber grommet. Not 100% necessary. Put a little oil around this will help it slide in there. Make sure it's fully seated all the way. All there is to it, guys. And then we got this new gasket. Now, this particular gasket here is made out of a little bit different material for some reason than the new one, but we're not going to sweat that too much. Here's the new gasket. It's more of a paper over metal, and I might be wrong about that. It may kind of look different once it compresses, but I think it's a different kind of gasket. Alright, line that bottom one up so you know you got it correct. Make sure your gasket stays in place. Start all these by hand. Oh, and I forgot to mention that spring usually stays in that housing there, so just make sure it stays in place. And once you get all those started evenly, I just usually get down here and push in on this, run them up by hand. Usually the easiest way. Don't want no 1/2-inch impacts or anything ramming those 8mm headed 6mm bolts in there. Just keep that pushed in. Run these down. This is a really simple oil change that any of you guys can do. Just take your time. You know, you do want to acquire a little bit of a feel if you haven't done much mechanical things for the bolts, because that's tough. You know, it's like something you learn over the years. If you want to buy a little inch-pound torque wrench until you get used to that, that might be a good idea. I don't want to steer anybody wrong. I've just learned over the years. And I get criticized for this on YouTube, not in real life, but if I had to torque every bolt that I have ever tightened down in my life, I wouldn't be able to survive. I mean, I just couldn't. You can't make money. Technicians like around the world pretty much are all straight flat rate, which means that they work straight commission. If they're not meeting the required time to replace a part or diagnose a car or vehicle or bike or whatever, they're not making a living. So that can get kind of tough. All right, guys. Well, that right there is the only part that you have to do that requires some wrench turning. The rest of it is pretty much filling it up with oil. Now, I know that this bike at least holds 1.5 quarts. So what we're going to do is let's put about 1.5 quarts in it. Now, the correct way to do this is we're going to put the oil in there enough to where we know that it's got enough oil in it not to cause damage. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the oil in there, and it's going to be over full probably. We're going to crank it up. It'll either be over full or under full, can't remember. We'll crank it up, let it warm up for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to cut it off, and within 30 seconds, the oil should be in between these two lines here. So that's what we're going to look for. As long as you're in this window, in the center of this window towards the top or bottom, that's enough oil. I like to get it in up to this top line if possible. So let's get that done, guys. All right, again, this is the Bel-Ray 15W50. Really good oil. I found it online. And I've got about a little bit over 2 quarts in here. So I'm going to pour this down to about 1.5 quarts. And then we'll crank it up and let it warm up and go from there. It is an unseasonably warm day today. This is early November here in upstate South Carolina, and it is crazy hot in the shop. I don't even know what's going on. It feels like it's going to rain, really humid. All right, so as you can see, we're towards the top of the line right there. So what we're going to do is crank it up and let it run down a little bit and see where that ends up, and then we might have to add or subtract or, you know, leave it where it is. Alright, so you'll notice when you crank it up, you're like, oh no, there's no oil in it. What that's doing is that's because the oil is pretty much all throughout the engine, towards the top, up around the cam chain and valve train and cylinder head and clutches and gears. This engine oil actually lubricates the trans as well. So don't be alarmed that went down. We're going to cut that off, and then we'll know exactly what our level is. So let's let it run a little bit to get warm and go from there. All right, guys, let's let this sit. I just turned it off. Let's let it sit for a little bit and see where our level comes to, and go from there. I forgot to wipe the oil off the pipe, so that's where we're getting a little bit of smoke from. So we'll give it 2 minutes. I've got a little picture that I found from Royal Enfield I'll put on here for you guys too, that helps a ton. So we'll give that 2 minutes to see what happens. Alright guys, as you can see, we're like right up to the line at the top. So I feel pretty good about that. I think I'm going to leave it alone. And that ended up being just under 2 quarts, so that might be a good place for you guys to start. I don't really think you want to overfill that, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but the bike is on the center stand, and you know, you can start splitting hairs about where you let the bike land on its back or front tire or whatever, but I think where it sets at rest is really close to level, and I'm pretty good with that. So yeah, that ended up going pretty smooth, and I'm going to wipe that exhaust down, and we'll be ready to ride. Make sure you got your O-ring. There's an O-ring underneath the cap there. Let's make sure you don't lose that out. That seals that up and give that a good little snug. And that's all there is to it, guys. We're ready to take another little trip. All right, guys, once you get this done and you got it running for a little bit, just pay real close attention to the bottom edges of all the filter housing. Make sure you don't have any drips anywhere. You just want to look real close up underneath there. Make sure you don't have any drips like right in there. The oil's gonna be affected by gravity, so it's gonna leak at the lowest point. And over here, of course, we had this off, and there's an O-ring behind there. It wouldn't be a bad idea to get you a couple of those O-rings, and you know, just in case. And then there's a seal behind that bolt there, so if it looks like everything's good, just, you know, dry it off good, give it a little bath, and then on your next ride, check it and make sure you don't have any oil leaking out there. And I say we got that one done with minimal catastrophe. All right, guys, appreciate you guys riding along with us today. I know it's just a quick little easy oil change video, and there's probably a million of them out there, but I wanted to document this for warranty purpose and for you guys to ride along too, and try to just do it step by step for you guys. There's a couple of things to look out for I think we covered in the video. So we're gonna take it for a little ride. It's a beautiful day now. It felt like it was gonna rain. It's hot today for some reason in early November, but who knows? It's upstate South Carolina. We can have snow in the morning. You don't never know. But anyway, I'll drop all the links below for everything I used today, or you know, for the oil and filter and all that stuff, if I can find it on my affiliate link stuff for you guys. And that's all I got, guys. I appreciate it, and keep an eye on the channel. Got some really cool stuff coming, and still have to do the live feed, you know, just trying to get everything together so we can all be together, everybody that, you know, that's part of the channel, and we'll try to cook a little dinner or something on the fire for you guys. And I got some really cool things coming to give away, so we'll try to do that during the live feed. So yeah, just make sure you go down in the description below and check out all the cool links down there. You can get some discounts on things for the channel. And we appreciate all you guys. Take care. Come back for the next one.